transferred its sponsorship over now
Damn
to
right.
Odin Pro.
Damn right. So the other
Odin
thing
Pro sponsored athlete.
that I've been playing is Tunic, which dropped the other day, March 16th on... I don't know if this was originally announced at Game Pass or it was like shadow announced. It was just like, hey, this is on Game Pass, by the way, because I don't remember beforehand hearing about it coming to Game Pass, but either way, that was a pleasant surprise. It's a timed exclusive anyway for Xbox, and this is an isometric 3D action adventure, very much inspired by your Zeldas. If you played Death's Door last year, you're going to get a lot of the kind of same kind of feeling in terms of some of the mechanics and the controls. One thing I will say off the bat is that Death's Door is a game that its tone is more rooted in, you know, that kind of black humor in a lot of its writing, whereas Tunic, for a start, it doesn't have anything in terms of story or cutscenes or any kind of scripted dialogue. It's very ethereal, very dreamlike, and all of its all of the things there for you to read. Basically, there's an instruction manual that you can collect the pages for. That the pages, they look very much out of, you know, if you played any of the old Zelda games for the NES or the SNES, the NES one in particular comes to mind, with the sort of like, you know, long form, very detailed instruction manuals that explain a lot of the stuff that obviously they didn't have the memory to do at the time on the NES cartridge. It looks a lot like that, and it has like beautiful diagrams of like the enemies, and has the maps, and you know, it kind of details like all of the items and what they do. But a lot of the details are done in this sort of hieroglyphic language that, as far as I can see, or certainly in the 4 or 5 hours I've been playing, there's no way I found that it like translates any of that. So a number of parts of the instruction manual, it does have some English, so it can give you at least like a vague idea of what certain items do, but a lot of it is sort of like left open for you to just sort of figure out what they do, or the instructions are done through like just kind of visual diagrams or whatever. So parts of that are really charming, but parts of that are also really frustrating because I just don't know what certain fucking items do, and I'd really wish it would just tell me. One of the other issues as well with the instruction manual is that the way that like the map works in the game is that like the map is tied to the instruction manual, and like you pick up certain parts of the map as you go through the game, but it doesn't like, there's no like map button. Basically, if you tap the select button, it will take you to the instruction manual, and it will go to whatever was the last page that you were on. But, you know, sometimes there might be something I'm trying to look in, like what the items, to see if I can figure out what they do. And, you know, I'm up to about 20 odd pages in this manual, and I'm sure there are more. So you have to flick through to get to like the map. And I'd kind of wish that just like there would be one section that would just like one button that would be designated for the map. And on top of that as well, sometimes it's actually kind of hard to see where you are on the map, because like your fox icon that it represents where you are is very, very small. So like it would be nice if like when you went into the map, it just kind of started you like it kind of flashed the icon, or it did something to kind of make it clearer to represent, hey, this is where you are, because a lot of the time you kind of got to squint for a bit to sort of see like where the fuck it is that you are on the map, and then you can push A to like zoom in closer. So there's a couple of like little quality of life features like that I wish, or I hope that they kind of look into. I say they, it's him. Like this game is made by one guy, which is like unbelievable, because this game is it's like visually like you can tell that it's a Unity game. Like there's a lot of the kind of like cubism sort of style and low poly style of the visuals that is, you know, like very popular at the moment, and even Death's Door kind of has a lot of that low poly style to it, but this is it's more bright, it's more colorful. Again, it has that sort of ethereal dream-like nature to it that like is combined with the audio, like the overworld music reminds me of sort of like latter day Radiohead, like kind of the last Radiohead album, like some of the dreamscape sort of sounds to it. It's a beautiful soundtrack so far, and I've really been enjoying that. And then the one big thing I think to talk about with Tunic is that now, obviously, you guys are going to be talking about Elden Ring in a bit, so, you know, this isn't anything new for you at the moment from what you're experiencing, but this game is pretty tough. Like, the first, like, proper boss in this game, I spent about 2.5 hours between last night and today trying to beat, and I died more times to this one boss than I did, I think, in the entirety of my playthrough with Death's Door. And I think, you know, being someone who has not spent much time with the Souls-esque games, I think it's quite similar in the combat. Like, it's very much like roll, avoid your attacks, you know, make sure that you time the rolls to avoid the attacks, get a couple of hits in, get out of the way, go again. One of the things, though, that Tunic does is you have a stamina meter. And the stamina is tied to your health in so much that if your stamina is, like, depleted, you'll actually take more damage. So you're trying to get a couple of hits in, but then you're trying to get back, A, to not get hit, but also to try and get your stamina back to kind of full tilt, because certainly with like the first boss, you basically take 2 hits and you're wasted. And that was kind of like, you know, getting the timing, because the first boss only has like 3 attacks, but getting that timing down was like a real pain to kind of get the groove of. So, and just kind of in the open world as well, because this game as well, like I think Death's Door did, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you know, like a lot of games are doing, it does the Soulsborne thing in that if you die, you leave behind a version of yourself that has all of your coins and stuff, and you have to go back and collect. And you know, you can't auto save. There are bonfire points which are like these shrines that you have to use, and the kind of space between these shrines, there, like some of the areas, like there's a fair amount that you have to do to get from one shrine to the other. So, you know, like some of the challenges of this game have literally just been able to get to one shrine to the other without dying. And 2 things about that I want to say. First of all is that they at least throw you a bone by, like, they'll give you shortcuts that you can use to kind of like cut parts out once you've like completed an area, but it'll do the thing that if you clear an area, then like go back to the shrine, it will reanimate, or it'll bring back all of those enemies again, so you have to do the area again with all those enemies.
That's our bread and butter at the moment.
Yeah The other thing that I wanted to say is that I feel like at this point, and I know I've done it here for Tunic, but I feel like at this point I think it's kind of redundant to say, hey, a game has the bonfire Souls-like kind of approach to death, because I feel like that's just a thing that games are going to do now, because I feel like we're so far removed away from like the one-up system, which was, you know, inherently tied to the arcade coin-op era. And I do feel like just games are adopting this Souls-like approach, for better or for worse, but I feel like we're just at the point now where it's like, just this is just a thing that games do, and I don't know we need to tie it as much to like saying, hey, this is a Soulsborne approach. I feel like just, I don't know how we call this now, but yeah, I feel like just games are now just doing this kind of by that I don't think I want to just inherently just attach it to the Souls-like games, even though I know they did them first.
Yeah, there were certainly the innovators and the kind of people who popularized it, and I gotta say, it's one of the things I'm very glad that of the things to emulate from the Soulsborne games, that's one of the things that people are trying to do more, because I think, you know, Sean McGee is a better place to say this than I am, but a lot of the games that have tried to do the Soulsborne thing, like the whole just do a Soulsborne game without any, like, this is our Soulsborne game, rather than come up with a unique twist on it, pale imitations, to say the least. So taking some of the, because I think we can all agree that the idea of like checkpointing and the penalties for dying to a boss in games was something that probably needed a bit of shaking up, and it's that kind of bonfire system, while not, while sometimes it can be incredibly frustrating when it happens to you, it feels like it rides the line between fair and punishing quite well when it's implemented properly.
Can I still say my favorite implementation of that system is Shovel Knight? Because it makes it like an optional thing. You can either try and go through the level without hitting one of those checkpoints, and I can't remember what the trade-off is. It's been so long since I played Shovel Knight, but I know there's a trade-off for if you actually use the checkpoints. But it basically instead of having an easy difficulty or a hard difficulty, it makes it like an optional difficulty. And I still think that Shovel Knight's approach is a really elegant way of doing that. But yeah, Tunic, I really do like this game. I will say that, yeah, like I've seen some people say that Tunic is like a change of pace from other things that they're playing in the moment. But I'm going to say, if you've been playing Elden Ring, and now I haven't played Elden Ring yet, I can't compare it. But like, this is not like a gentle breeze of a game to go into. No. It's pretty rough. And
yeah.
I think my one big issue that I have at the moment, and Death's Door was guilty of this, but it was nowhere near as egregious, is that, with like isometric games, they'll do that thing that I feel like, Fez introduced, where you have hidden parts that are blocked off by the camera, and you just kind of have to like hug to the wall, and eventually you'll kind of come across a corridor that will go off into the some area or something. But the only reason that it's blocked off is just because the camera obviously isn't facing the way where that area is. And Tunic does that, but it does it to an almost comical degree. And there'll be a lot of times where you'll like be trying to like walk the path that's gone under like an underpassage or something, but you're just hugging to the wall to kind of figure out where it is. And I really wish that when it does those things, which I wish it would do less, I wish it would make it a lot clearer that like it would kind of show you you remember in like Mario Sunshine where you go into the sewer kind of parts, and it would kind of clearly outline not the entire sewer that you're in, but at least like the little part that you're in, so you can see where the walls are and you can see where Mario is. I wish that it would do that as well, just at least in like the local area that you're in, so you can kind of see like when you need to turn right or when you need to turn left, and not just kind of blindly let you have to fucking stumble across it until you've figured out like where to get from point A to point B.